down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Ladies and gentlemen, bang, bang. I know it's been a minute. You tuned into the Savvy Radio Show. I've been all over the place, not in the world. Yeah, some people say, man, you've been all over the place. Yeah, well, I've been all over the place in my mind, trying to decipher what should I be doing and where the radio show should be going. And let me tell you right now, it needs to be going interviewing people once a week. That has been a desire in my mind when I've been doing some research. And I learned by getting, vicariously through other people, going through those minds. So for 2020, this is my goal. I'm going to do a radio interview once a week. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? I'm going to do this. This is my 2020 goal. And I'm like, there's no way better to do it with a guy's name, Scooter, to kick this mother effer off. And it's Scooter Howell from Monroe, Louisiana. This guy he doesn't know that his smile and his spirit, when I meet him at random freaking places, you would never know how powerful he is, because he's always jovial and excited and wants to talk about real estate like a little kid talking about some chick that he wants to take out on a date. And this guy's so giddy about it, and he's such a savvy entrepreneur. I'm like, I have been trying to get with this guy for so long, and we're doing the Savvy Boot Camp in January in Monroe to his group of friends, and so it's cool. But let me tell you something. This guy has from 30 units to 450 units in 4 years. I thought I was somebody, and in 3 years I bought like 88. In 4 years I bought 88 units. Now, I know you could scale, Scooter, with apartments. So, I mean, I did this with single family units, buying 88 in 4 years, and they thought that I was somebody special in Oklahoma City. But when I chat with you, I'm always a little humbled. So just a tad. But you should have your own radio show. And I did tell Scooter just 3 minutes ago before we hit record that he will be on the show often. And guys, you need to, ladies too. There's a few girls that do listen to this. I'm impressed that women even like me. But the deal is, write down your questions for this guy, because he has a wealth of knowledge from contractors, fix and flips, VAs. Like, this guy is not doing this all by himself. Vacation rentals, owner finance, private money, manufactured home community. Oh gosh, we will not be able to cover that in this episode. This episode is about just introducing Scooter, learning about his mindset, how he got into the game, where's his direction. And when I asked him about interviewing, he is the only interviewee that has sent me a list of things that he wants to talk about, which was kind of cool and gnarly, just to be candid. Like, I'm like, that's how I would roll. I'm like, this is what I want to talk about. But he gave me such a crazy off the wall list, from Section 8, but to finding tenants, to private money. I'm like, dude, he's like my nemesis here. We're twins. But the cool thing that I saw when I was reading his list was, my favorite was goals, dreams, and freedom. So I definitely want to end with that, Scooter. But so tell us, why Monroe, Louisiana? Why Louisiana? Do you like gumbo? Do you eat that crap? And crawfish? Are you and do you shit every episode?
Yeah, man. It's Monroe's a great spot. There's we're Monroe, West Monroe. We've got the probably most known for the Duck Commanders here. They had a TV show here. There was houses are good. I grew up here. I want to build the area up. Investing in this area, buying houses down the street from where I grew up is pretty awesome. There's
so tell me about your family. Is your mom and dad from Monroe? I mean, this is all you know?
Yeah, this is the only place I've been. I grew up here, born and raised, from a baby on up. We went to school here. I homeschooled some.
You were homeschooled?
Yeah.
Is that why you smile all the time?
I don't know. I'm just happy.
I know
There's
it's
nothing
cool.
to be sad about.
I know. Okay, so tell me about your parents, like, or tell me how'd you got into real estate. Like, is your mom and dad, are they together? Are they divorced? Who's introduced you to being an entrepreneur? How did that happen? You don't just come out of the womb, live in the trenches in Monroe. You guys got a bunch of bridges and water and alligators and crawl. I mean, come on, dude. Like, seriously, like, Oklahoma think people were horses and Indians and teepees. I'm thinking
Yeah.
alligators. And when I went to the gas station in your little area, there was like boiled peanuts. I was like, what's a boiled peanut? No, I'm not joking. I'm being serious. Like, what's a boiled peanut? Do you eat those?
No, I don't. I try not to eat anything from a gas station, but
so mom and dad, what are they? Who are they?
Mom and dad, I guess my mom was an entrepreneur. She was doing, she had her own dance studio, and she did that. My dad was a truck driver. He taught me how to work, and whenever he was home, we were in the shop building something, or making something, out of wood. It was, or I was taking something apart and getting in trouble for it. Took apart my power wheels, took apart my brother's power wheels, took apart my bicycle. Couldn't put anything back together, but we took it apart.
So are you handy, or you're engineering? Like, you like to create and figure things out, or obviously you're a little hands-on too, right? Or both? Which is the stronger suit? Curious.
Probably more curious than handy, but that seemed to work well for me. I'm not afraid to take something apart, and figure out what we need to do to put it back together.
Can you put it back together?
It's depends on what it is, but I'm pretty handy. I can figure it out.
So spend a lot of time with your dad. You have brothers, sisters?
Yep. I come out of a family of 8 brothers and sisters.
Whoa, freaking Louisiana.
Yeah.
What do they think of you, that you're just like this real estate tycoon? You own a venue too. Don't you own a venue too, like a place that you rent out for weddings?
Yep. Me and my sister Jenny own that, and we that was actually one of my favorite deals we've done. But that's
let's talk about that later.
Just trying to hustle, just trying to get to be somebody.
Well, okay, so
something.
Your family, in the circumstances that you've risen out of the mire, and there's a lot of mire there. They're super proud of you. So what was the light bulb moment? Like, were you going to be a truck driver? Were you? I'm not trying to be disrespect your dad in any way, because I thought my dad was a plumber. Of course I didn't know him, but I have had aspirations I've always been blue collar. But did you know that you were going to be in real estate as an investor, and where did that come in? Or has it always been entrepreneurial through high school, or did you, schooling?
So I was always wanting to do something to make some money. I rode my dad bought me a riding lawnmower, just the tractor part with a trailer. Didn't have a mower on it, but it had a trailer, and I'd drive my push mower around and mow yards in the area. And my buddy's stepdad had a bunch of rentals. We worked on his huge 4 white column mansion, and I was like, I want to do whatever he's doing, because this house is huge, and he's got all of us sitting here working for him, and he's in the truck,
hanging out,
doing whatever. Yeah, he had a stroke. He couldn't do a whole lot, but hello.
All right, you're there. You're back.
I'm back. All right.
You're back. Okay. So how old were you? You look relatively young. How old are you now?
35.
Okay. So when'd you get into the game? So you met this guy, you were inspired by this mansion, and you were blue collar working on a job site to make money, to make ends meet. So you've always been hustling of some form or magnitude. I can just gather that. Then, so how old were you? Were you right out of high school, or was this during high school? When would this epiphany happen?
Well, I was always homeschooled, so I never went to an actual high school. I made it I had never graduated, but
You never,
it had
wait a
never
minute,
stopped
hold
me.
on. You never graduated high school?
No.
Cool. Does that bother
Uh,
you?
No.
I love it when people tell me, I just giving you a heads up. I mean, people tell me like, 3 degrees. I'm like, I make more than them and I have no degree. It's just like,
Yeah.
you make triple, 5 times what the world makes and you have no high school diploma. How cool is that? You need to write a book, dude. Like, I'm
working on
serious.
it.
Are you really? I would love to help you.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I could walk you through the process for sure. But the thing is like, that's such a great testimony. A lot of people in Oklahoma are homeschooled and it's kind of like a 50-50. Like some people dog it, some people like it, some people think they're freaks.
Right.
Now there is a few freaks out there that like they have no social skill.
I agree.
But
I'm not one of those people.
But there's this kid that I roll with who's homeschooled is like phenomenal. Like this dude is like, I mean, he's 20 and he's just incredible and he's been homeschooled and like, you would never know. He's socially, he's gangster. I'm like, I want my child to be you. And I'm like, should I homeschool? Okay. So how old were you around this time when you got this vision or got this idea, like got this like pain point or something? How old were you?
So I guess I was growing up and we were picking up trash around this mansion and helping this guy. But that was way early, probably in my, before we were driving,
15.
And then, 14, 15. And then, anyway, went on and I was working at I always liked that idea because I'd work on and off with this guy, helping him clean out a rental or helping him, pick up trash around his apartments. And then, anyway, bought my first house when I was 20 and trying to figure out how to get people to pay for it. So I was renting out rooms,
Oh my gosh, that's like the cool, sexy thing now. And back then, you're like, sober living is so hot right now.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, like I was in the middle of a transaction on a sober living situation. Actually, I walked away from one about 7 years ago, and that dude, 5 years ago, and he just sold it for like unbelievable profit. It makes so much money. And you were renting out rooms to like homies or just to anyone?
Yeah, it was just people that knew about it. We were young, so there wasn't much qualification. If you were recommended by a friend, then that was good enough,
No background check, huh?
There was definitely no background
check. Dude, I
check
could write your book
house.
for you. I mean, there's so many cool titles. You were referred, you're approved.
It was insane living at that house. That was I learned.
You
a whole
lived
lot.
there too. So on-site property management, chapter 1.
Oh, there was definitely no management going on. It was just trying to pay the note. I mean, I worked at a bike shop, and which was a great job back then. I was 20, 21. I didn't have any. Sure didn't have any money coming in. I was probably making $8 an hour, and then I would do some side hustle. Me and a buddy cut trees down on the weekends. I'd climb the trees, top them out, cut them down. So I just trying to make sure I can pay the note on that thing.
Wow. So you were driven. What was like your driving moment behind you that like you wanted to be wealthy? You wanted to be that guy. You wanted to have the freedom of life. And, but you never, not once did you not, I mean, you're working with your hands at the bike shop. Did you ever have a vision of like I knew that when I was in grade school, they were like, you're dumb. You're never going to go to college. And so you need to learn a trade. Like, this is what they told me. And they're like, you need to learn a trade. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they threw me in wood shop. And I remember vividly smelling the sawdust and burning smell, and it smelled like carnage in my mind. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, I knew that I was never going to be in the trade per se. was that like that for you? Did you you saw your dad driving a truck and he was gone? Did that motivate you not to do that, or you were just oblivious? You're like, hey, I'm gonna live my own way. Like, I think there's people out there that need to hear your mindset. I think that's the key. It's like we're lying to ourselves of this fixed mindset that we have to do this way, or someone told you to be, since your dad's a truck driver, you should be a welder because it all fits in the same arena. Like what was your thinking in there at that time? I mean,
a lot of people told me I needed to do that. Go to a welding shop. My dad had a welding machine at the house, and he was like, "You need to do this.
$70 an hour."
Yeah, it's a good job. It's
pays
safe.
well.
Pays well. You could get a job with benefits at the mill. You can, retire good. And I went driving with him. He was long haul trucker, so I'd go 10 days and sit in a truck and sit behind warehouse buildings and see a whole lot of countryside from the interstate. And that pretty well got me decided that I didn't want to do that at all.
Wow. That's awesome.
We had 8 kids in our family. So, I mean, we ate chicken and rice on the regular. It was, and now seeing what all the sacrifices that my mom did, after I grew up, it's like, oh no, I'm definitely not going to be a truck driver if that's what it is. And I'm not going to, he thought I needed to, my dad's passed away and he taught me most everything, but he wanted me to go sell my firewood because we were cutting trees, sell it on the side of the road. I was like, I cannot sit on the side of the road and sell anything. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, cool.
It's, but,
did you figure out another alternative to sell that? Did you make a few and drop it?
I did.
Put it on an ad on Facebook?
No, the thrifty nickel, we didn't have Facebook then.
Yeah.
It was ad in the paper, the 3-line ad that only costs like $5,
That's
for
awesome.
2 weeks.
It's cool, the generational gap. Like, your dad knew hard work, but he was savvy, but he just didn't know the difference between leverage of time.
Right.
And you knew that from the guy that with the mansion, he's leveraging his time. There's 5 boys out here cleaning it up, scale. But we don't understand it until later in life. Like, oh, that's how it works, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That guy's sitting in his truck doing doing the next deal, and I'm sitting here picking up trash and putting it in the back of his truck.
Right.
It's
so I can get my little money. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know that that's what he was doing. He was leveraging us until I started doing it myself. But, that just having them and seeing their struggle way back then, I guess whenever I got out of the house after I bought my first house, and then, whenever I say we struggled, I didn't notice it until I got grown up and didn't notice what I could have had if they had known something different. And, now I've seen people in real estate just skyrocket. So, I mean, I want to get on that bus and I enjoy it. So,
cool. So, okay. So like I spoke the other day, I was like, I mastered contracting first and then I went to funding. You have a lot of skill sets. You went from Section 8, from all over the place. What was the first thing that you tried to tackle? Was it finding deals? Was it raising money? And you were doing a lot of the handyman stuff yourself? Tell me the transition there. So like, okay, now you need to buy houses. Was there a number? I mean, you didn't start off with 450. So there was what was your thinking?
It started at 10, was all I need is 10 to do. And I can.
So true. I think mine was 25. And when I got to 25, I was like, this is dumb. Like, this is not enough.
Yeah.
And then I was like greedy in my mind. I'm like, I need more. Why? But the expenses, repairs, property management, taxes.
You got to scale it. So I went from 10 and I had 10 for probably 5 or 6 years. I just had 10, and I had a really good job. I worked at a mobile home dealership. I did everything from sales to finance manager for all the sales guys I didn't dip off into the service, but I helped a lot in that. I wasn't ever a service manager, but I helped a lot with that. And being able to see all that, the mobile home business and how that works was very beneficial. But I quit that. Me and my sister had a gymnastics gym that we had bought from our aunt, and I jumped in with 2 feet on that. We had already had it because I had the financing from other houses, and I jumped off to do real estate and gymnastics
full time.
And full time.
So you quit your job. Now the cool thing is that in the manufacturing, you learn finance, right? I mean, you learn the process. And I guess I would like your opinion on this. Isn't it weird that people just buy things and they don't even know what they're buying? Like I always get nervous when, there's retail flippers. I always like, who's going to buy this house? And it always gets sold. And when I'm selling like trash, like no one's going to buy this. And then they buy it. I mean, in the manufactured business, there's an unlimited stream of people that don't know what they're buying. They just want a house. So they're going to pay 5 times of what it's worth. And it always baffled me. Like, did you ever think that way when, like, what was your financial education? Because you said you got in finance. Because I know you're pretty savvy about private money and stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me what you learned there. Like, what was it? Like, what was your keys of success in that, or your takeaways?
I had zero financial experience whenever I was doing that, and that kind of dealership finance is really just knowing who to send what to and where to get the money from. Where can I get these people this money for this house, and matching them up, and making sure that the numbers would work. And hey, if you're you only have this income and you have 2 car payments, well, you can only get this note. So that's these houses, and, matching them up with those. Okay. I didn't have there wasn't no education on that. You don't learn that in homeschool. That's for sure.
Okay, cool. What else are you going to say? I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Getting those people set up and they need something different from what we need. We need a house that's going to make us money. They just need a house that they can live into and they don't have to work on. That's their motivation. That's their thing. Yeah, they're done.
So, okay, this gymnastics thing is pretty cool. Entrepreneurial. You have this entrepreneurial thing. So, like in my mind, my first thing that comes to my mind, okay, we need as many people paying us as whatever the fee is a month. Was your thinking there? So you're like, okay, we have $2,000 in expenses. What was that experience like? Tell us about that.
That was probably one of the biggest learning things that I've ever done. And that Powerhouse Tumble and Cheer is still living. It's still a business. I've sold my part to my sister Jenny, the partner that we did it with, and that I did it with, and she still runs it today in our event center that me and her own the building.
I'm going. I'm coming.
Yeah.
Like
That's right.
We're driving down there. Like I got my whole posse. We're coming down there.
That's aweson. It's
So I got to see that.
Yeah,
it's still fun. And so you created. I mean, I'm just assuming because I'm an entrepreneur. What was your part of that process? Were you creating systems? Were you maintenance? Right. Like, because she's a gal, so she probably maintained the coaches, or she was a coach, and she would have all that lined out, I'm assuming.
Right.
And so you did the business functions, right?
So I did the business functions. We had we started with one, and then we bought another one. We had
2 locations?
5. Well, we ended up with 5.
5 gymnastics?
Yeah, 5 powerhouses.
How many children were you running through this deal?
800 a week.
You sold that is a subscription based model. I'm trying to buy. Can we do
so? It's Dude, we learned a lot through there.
And she still owns them. How many are you down to now?
So we scale back. I'll tell you, we scaled back a lot. We had my dad got cancer. We were taking him to the hospital. Me and her didn't have jobs, so we could take off and take him. We dealt with that for over a year, and that showed us a lot of the things that we don't want to do anymore. We want to do less of, and do have more time with more freedom to do what we want and not be stuck there making sure that this big system that we built is running.
Without
yeah, which it didn't. We were trying. We had a ton of systems. I mean, we had 35 employees. But now we've sold. We sold to a manager in one location. We sold to another lady that has her own. Had another, so she was just adding to her business. We closed one. We closed another one, and we're down to now. She's got the original one, and it's still hopping big time. There's kids in there every day. My office is in there, so there's in that building. So it's
real estate empire is at the gymnastics gym.
Hey, and the same place that we do weddings and investor
I love
weekend
this small
and
town.
savvy boot camp.
Yeah, I know it.
So
I'm so excited, man, dude, it's a pleasure to just talk to another individual that just wants to do the very best that they can do. And may it be, there's a financial reward at the end of the hard work, but I mean, I love the mentality. They could do a whole TV show just on you, dude. The craziness of your life. Your office is at the gymnastics. It's awesome, man. You got to come up to Oklahoma City. I got it just to come hang out and just see my day of work, my gymnastics process. Okay. So you skinned your teeth on business acumen from systems and processes. So let's go into this 30 units into 450 units in 4 years. So was that? Was this some personal challenge? Obviously at 35 employees, you're doing okay. You're probably not making a killing. People don't know. It just sounds it sounds sexy that I got all these employees, but yeah. And I know you're probably making $2,000 a month, maybe.
If that, yeah.
Oh yeah, people are how many units do you have? Well, I have 140, and they think I'm just some millionaire. I gross 70, but I don't make 70. It just doesn't happen that way.
Right.
Every month I got a $5,000 heat and air bill. I mean, I the plumber that I have right now, I just want to stab this dude. I tried to tell him, I'm like, bro, we paid you. Seriously, this is a true story. I just pulled how much I'm paying him. Within 6 weeks, we paid this dude $7,000. I'm like, hey, my staff up there. I'm like, we need to come up with a better plumbing plan. We need to we're probably at the scale that we can probably hire a full-time licensed plumber and pay them $50,000 a year and never think about it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not even. That's not even on my radar anymore. But hey, anybody that's listened to this in Oklahoma City, if you want to co-op I'm going to get Louisiana ghetto. I'm just going to go down with Monroe. I know they scale down there and they share people. But seriously, a friend of mine brought this to my attention. Is we were talking about having a video camera, buying a $2,000 video camera, and 4 of us put in $500 and we share a video scope camera for scoping cameras and and I'm I used to own one. I used to rent it out to people and then it got stolen or broken. But I was why can't we do that with human capital? Why can't we just, some guy just needs $4,000 a month. I'm telling you, I can find a guy at $3,000 a month. I can find a guy whistling with insurance in a 2015 truck for $4,000 a month. I need to make this happen. If there's 3 other investors in Oklahoma City that wants to hire the best handyman, 4 G's, we all put in $1,000 a month. Our life would change. So tell me, first of all, how'd this happen? This 30 to 450 units. We'll probably end with this story today because There's so much more
Yeah.
to come out of you. But tell me, was it a goal? Were you in the middle of the trenches and then you woke up and you're like, hey, I got 3 apartments? Tell me the process there.
So most of these are single family units, and most of them are only about 130 or 140 properties are my personal properties. And then we manage our company. I've built me and a partner got together. She was working for me. And then Hannah Zonbreaker, we built Parish Leasing Company. It was kind of a personal challenge at first because I wanted to see how many units I could manage before I kept buying. And anyway, so now I bought 70. I was up to about 70. I hired her. She was wanting some more, wanting more money. And I was like, okay,
to manage more. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
her motivation is to manage.
I kept buying.
Did she buy any houses at all herself?
No. We bought some together.
I love
this. Yeah, we bought some together, but nothing solo yet. But I'm sure she's going to. Yeah, she will.
I don't know, man. I would keep that relationship going just the way it is. Like I've learned that lesson. I'm not saying that.
Got her in there, and we started. She was wanting to do this house, manage for somebody else, and I was like, well, hey, what if we just manage for a bunch of people? Because people ask me all the time.
Yes.
And boom, Parish Leasing is born, and we skyrocketed. We're doing mostly single family rentals. And we have investors that they're growing. We built, we were doing all the maintenance in-house, which was my personal guys were doing. I've recently broken that off to a guy, one of my main maintenance guys, a buddy of mine now that we have Washita Property Service that's doing the maintenance. So we have a leasing and maintenance all separate.
Keep it separate.
And and so we're and then we hire subs still. We're still, we got 400 and something properties to work on, so that always something happening. But
so what's it like
buying in packages?
So do you get fine deals from these investors that you're managing property for? Do they get tired of it and want to sell? Is that the golden juice there?
That does help. Definitely. I'm front and center, and I'm an easy buyer because I know about the property. I know who the tenants are, and they already under management. So why not buy them? They're already cash flowing. But most of our investors, once they get them under management and they don't have to deal with it, then they just as well keep them because they cash flow. We manage them like I would want mine managed.
Yeah.
I'm building the system to do it like I want to. So, we, buying that many properties was just going out and buying one after another and finding people that wanted to sell, multiples at a time. And it was banks, making sure the bank was still good and making it easy for them.
All right. So what software do you use, and like what's your systems and policies, and like what have you learned in this process of taking on? I've done this once, so you and I have followed a similar plan, except for I had a dream of the same thing, but then when these guys started calling me, kind of barking at me, I realized this is not where I wanted to be. So how do you sustain that, and how do you handle these jokers that think that they're giving you 10% or whatever you're charging? It's never enough money. Just FYI, this, real estate investors out there, property management people really don't make money. They have to scale really big. And when they do, their costs go up and their time goes down because they can't manage. The goal is to get as many units as possible with the less management team in place. And the key is good staff. It is a vicious cycle, and it's a very corrupt cycle because people rip people off, other investors, on maintenance because, hey, you can get a door installed for X amount, but we're going to charge you Home Depot price, which is $350. And there's a disparity there. And I sometimes I get it though. Like because I know I'm a property manager, there's no money to be made in this arena. What's it like to manage these people that have these expectations that everything should be free, that you should drive to every property? And by the way, while you're there, change my air filter out, and you shouldn't charge them. Do you charge investors for trip charges? How do you handle the psycho? I know there's a lot of questions. You opened up a Pandora's box there. So tell me something about your customer.
So we don't work for people that we don't like.
Yeah, amen. All right, finally.
Yeah. And
you fire them, right?
We fire them. The investors that we have are either involved enough to where they want to do their make readies because they don't want to pay us to do them, and they have an eye on their stuff. They just need somebody. They still have a job, and they want to leave us to do the day-to-day stuff.
Cool.
So, and then the other ones, they trust our judgment to take care of it, and we do. That working for other people is probably one of the harder things, but I've got good partners that take care of that, the front end of things, and I think just keeping them educated on what we can do and keeping our system to where it goes to where it keeps rolling is the most important thing. System. Don't work on the house, work on the system.
Come on.
Is probably the hardest thing, but it's the best. I'm not going to go change an air filter personally. I don't have air filters in my truck. I'm not going to do it. But
well, how do you manage their expectations? I mean, obviously you have a strong personality, and I've just noticed, even when I do private lending, there's certain private lenders think that since they give me their $50 that they own me, and I pretty much vet these people out before I start taking their money. How do you handle someone's expectations? Do you try to get it all written out on the front end? Do you have a conversation? But people forget conversations real fast when stuff stops blowing up in the face, or tenants move out, and people are losing money. Everything's grand when we're making money, but then when the market shifts, or the AC that used to cost me $5 is costing me $7 now. The plumbing water heaters are $800. I don't pay that. I mean, I'm paying that right now. I just even me saying that, I just want to stab myself, because I know better. I can get it done cheaper, but time is the essence. So how do you handle people's expectations for you? Yep. How do you handle the expectations?
Vetting them out up front, making sure they're true investors and not landlords.
Okay, define the two there. What's the difference between an investor and a landlord? That's a good one. That's a good chapter. That's a great chapter.
That could be a whole deal right there.
I have an idea of what you're going to say, but I would love for you to say it. What's the difference between an investor and a landlord? Douchebag versus...
Well, we're not going to save a landlord any money if he can do it himself. If we've been asked to do it, to manage these guys, some of these people's property, but it's really just because they have a problem right then, and they just can't figure it out yet. But these investors, they know that they're not going to make money all the time. They know that they're going to have good months and bad months, and as long as I can keep more good months than bad months, then I'm doing good.
Let me sum it up for you. You just said something very powerful. Very powerful. What I'm learning 20 years later, that the investor is allocating failure rates. Landlords are blue sky.
Yeah.
They just assume that it's going to be rented out all the time, and that's what's happening in my market right now. I would be curious to know about your market, but in my market, people are buying $85,000 houses or $65,000 houses and renting them out for $850. Like, there's no margin there. Like, I get it. But if I buy an $85,000 house, it's got to make $1,000. If I buy a $50,000 house, it's got to make $100. There's got to be a level of margin. Like, there's going to be a down month. Someone's going to steal from you. Something's going to happen. You cannot not predict. And I think that's the difference between an investor and a landlord. You just said it in a really cool way, Interesting. That'd be a very good podcast. A very good, man, there's so much I want to talk to you about. So this is the first episode of you, man. We're going to talk about partnerships, and I mean, you're all over the place. I love it. How do you stay focused? I mean, seriously, dude, like people think I got like ADD on steroids. Like you're close. You're like, you drove past me. Cause like you went from flips on a regular basis to you have owner finance, vacation rentals, manufactured home partnerships, just managing all that alone. So how do you stay focused? Walk us through like a typical scooter day.
Scooter day.
You wake up.
I'm working on me. I'm miracle morning. Try to go get my run in.
Nice.
Have my family time in the morning. Make lunch for my 7-year-old. Getting them out the door, and then I'm off to work. And it's usually, phone calls, seeing what the hot things are that morning, and
like the problems that you have. And do you go to the office, or you just look at your phone? Is this all done in your truck?
A lot of it's done in my truck. It's usually a text message or two. They don't call me for a whole lot, so it's got to escalate to get to me. So I'm really just on the big problems, and then so I'll fix those and then go to the office, and I'll have lunch with another investor. Usually meeting an investor or a fellow landlord sometime in the day. Yesterday I had my first flight lesson, so I'm getting my pilot's license. That was pretty cool.
Congratulations. There's a couple of my friends that just got that. You need to hang out with Matt Blagg and Mitch Dunham. I don't know if you know them, but they have their license here.
Yeah.
So we should fly down there. Maybe I should ask him to fly me down there. I don't know. Yeah. I have to figure it out. But there's several of them. Yeah. Andy Gribb. There's a bunch of them that own planes and have their license, and it's a cool process to go through. How far are you in the flight process?
So actually talked to Matt, and he talked me into it. I met him at Investor Weekend that I came to.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah, in Oklahoma City.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you are getting your so you work on yourself personally, right, which is the most important thing I think you said so far. That we get too focused on the wrong stuff. Like, I got to make more money. I got to do that. And then we're not taking care of ourselves physically, emotionally, spiritually. So you do that. Then you check your phone. Then you have lunch somewhere. Where do you normally have lunch? And are you running guys too? Are you GC and stuff? Cause you're real active.
It's usually running the guys that are running the guys. Okay. I mean, I'm talking to my partner in the management, Hannah, and I'm talking to Daniel, that is my partner in Washoe Property Service. So they're it's just the big problems that get to me, that they handle most everything. And then, I'm looking at houses still. I'm still checking on things. I want to be out there. Mm-hmm. I want to tell them how to fix whatever it is and save our investors some money. So I'm still out. I mean, I'm hustling every day. I'm out in the truck, riding around, looking at houses every day.
Awesome.
In the morning, it's just me first, my family second, and me is reading in the morning, and then running, and then making food. And then sometimes I do men's groups in the morning. There's some guys that meet up at church that have coffee. We do some, and then, on to look at the next house or figure out the next deal that we're trying to put together.
What time do you usually get home?
Between 4 and 5. 6 is like the cutoff.
Okay.
So, yeah, something's wrong. I'm home between 4 and 5 usually. But I mean, we've been going out of town so much here lately, so I've been having to work a little bit later to get things done.
All right. So a couple things, and then we're going to wrap up. One, tell us about maybe your future goals, that you have, or some dreams that you've accomplished, something to, give us some perspective on that. And then thinking about what advice would you give someone, they've never been in real estate before, or they're struggling right now. What would you tell them? So let's start off with let's go big, dreams, goals. Where are you at right now?
Dreams and goals. Man, I'm trying to figure that out. I've got a little girl on the way. Be here in February. Yeah. So, I have a feeling that'll change some goals, but, I want to teach my son to fish and how to fish for deals, and not get fish given to him, because it'll be so easy for me and my wife.
They're not getting nothing. No, I mean, they have to earn it. I'm going to show them exactly how to do it. So teach them how to find deals, and then teach them
how to work, how to build these systems.
Nothing's free.
No, that's right. How to show them how to hustle, and he can figure out the rest. But as far as me personally, I want to get my pilot's license. I want to get an airplane.
Cool.
I've got an idea to which y'all have them all over there from what Matt said, but we need a subdivision with an airstrip in the middle that we can, land planes, and I can pull it into my carport, and then I can, whenever you say, hey, come on up.
There's neighborhoods in Texas that have them. You got to go visit one of them. They're pretty crazy. Matt, oh God. So I can't wait to get to fly up here. We'll roll out the full red carpet for you. All right. So you got your boy at 7. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's just imagine he's 18 years old. He's leaving the nest. What would you tell him?
Well, that's tough.
Well, first, I love you, boy. I love you, boy. And it's been a ride, and I'm gonna cry. But these are the things I need you to know and understand. What are they?
Get connected with the right people. If your friends suck, then you're gonna suck. If they are doing awesome stuff, then to these new investors, I mentored some guys, and just whenever they show up to the RIA meeting and they sit in the back, I'm like, hey, I got your seat up here. Sit with these people. They are doing it. There's $10 million sitting at this table. I know it. I'm not going to tell you that, but you just need to hang out with these people. Get around those kind of people. Go to club events. Go to investor, Mr. Landlord conference.
Wherever and anything.
Anything that's doing.
Dude,
with real estate guys.
I just dropped that the other day, and it crushed. It brought perspective. I don't know if you heard this on the podcast, but it's not the $99 ticket or the $500 ticket to get to the event. It's the network that brings it all in perspective. It's just, you never know the one person. I mean, there's a guy that loaned me $500,000 that I met at the Mr. Landlord conference several years ago. So the $100 that I bought to go to that conference was minuscule compared. And then another thing, I've said this already on another podcast, I'm gonna say it again. I was hanging out with a young guy like you, and I asked him, I'm like, dude, why do you go to that class, or why do you join that group? And he's like, I may know everything, but I'm joining it for the network. And I mean, it just changed my. I mean, it's so elementary, but it's like, and I was talking to a dude last night. I was like, I failed. I went to college for a little while, and I was so arrogant and so like wrong with me that I didn't build any relationships in college. And I just saw on Facebook that one of the people that was in my class is the president now of that university. But someone's trying to tell me, hey, don't you know something Thomas? I'm like, no, I don't know that guy. I'm like, I kind of recognize his wife. I think I remember her, and I was just convicted. I was like, am I just missing opportunities that I could have been cultivating? Just like our relationship, you and I mean, it's just like, we got to make the effort. I got to call Louisiana. I've got to make an effort to build a relationship, because you just never know where it's going to go. And in one simple principle is like, you know, I don't know, do you know Brad Grayson? Do you know him, the landlord up in Indiana?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Freedom. Okay.
Freedom.
And so, you know, I literally had a lead-based paint problem where a child, you know, this mom was like, my baby's going to die because your house had lead-based paint. I'm like, whatever. And I really believed her. You know, I mean, she got me for about 10 minutes until I made a phone call and called Brad Grayson. And Brad was like, no way. It's impossible to consume that much lead in a short amount of time. How long have you been living in the property? Like, 3 months. You know, he's like, that's impossible, dude. That's impossible. Like, and there's lead everywhere. There's lead in the dirt. There's lead in the oxygen. There's called emissions. Like, there's lead everywhere. But to have that concentrate. But see, I was like, I thought my whole empire was going to end. I thought that I was going to go to jail. This baby's going to die. And this 20 years of sacrifice was for nothing. And that's what relationships are.
Even not even that, because people tell me, well, I don't want to talk to people. I'm not a good people person. Okay, well, don't do that. Don't go talk to people, but go. So you get Brad Grayson's thing was, one of his things that he said was have a meeting at your office, or just pay for meal for Christmas party for everybody, and invite the mayor, invite the cops, invite the people at the Home Depot, the pro desk, the guys that help you out, everybody that you can think of. And I mean, that works. And I mean, if that had cost me $100 to hear that, and I needed that then, I mean, how you know how much that's benefited me? I mean,
you know, I used to be so cheap in that area. I actually used to do big parties, and then I got burned. My guys were coming to those parties and charging me hours too. And like, I just got real offended. Like, we would have it at lunch. No, for real. It was like once a month we were having like this contractor lunch thing. I got that from Brad too. Yeah. And it worked. Like, I thought it was like camaraderie and like, and it was fun. We play games and not just make fun of each other. So I stopped it when my general manager was like, Steven, these people are not only coming and eating for free, you're paying them to sit there. And I was like, wow, but I actually this year, I've taken a 4 or 5 year break, and I actually have a Christmas party going down, not open to the public, but just some key staff members, all my staff actually, that we're having a lunch together. I think it's important. I think you just never know who you could be ministering to, or that we do value your service. Like, everyone has a position here. Everyone is making an impact in some form. When you're calling a tenant and showing up and fixing that toilet, that you're only getting $15 an hour for, may seem minuscule to you, but it's impacting so many other people from that perspective. And I think they need to be appreciated for that. All right, man. Well, I can't wait to have you back on. So be ready. We'll probably talk a little bit we'll talk a little bit about Section 8. I'll be fascinated. I'm out of vacation rentals. I still have I have like one left, two units left. I'm like, I can't wait to choke those out. I have some cool things to talk about that. So be thinking about those, and maybe next week or so. All right. Yeah. Any other last words that you want to say? Now you have fans. You're going to have fans. Savvy Scooter Savvy.
If you can't do a deal, just try to do a deal. Just put something together. Make an offer. Take action. Do something.
Oh, I love it. Man, well said. I love it. Network and just do it. Well said.
Yeah.
What is the Savvy Boot Camp? Are you struggling to get to the next level as a business owner, as an investor? Do you want to multiply your income? Sign up for the Savvy Boot Camp, a strategic and supercharged one-night and one-day event designed to shortcut your learning process and propel you forward. Just value, no upsells, and an intimate setting to build relationships with like-minded investors. We will be covering how personality profiling can make you a millionaire, outsourcing and the nitty-gritty of maximizing your property management, scaling your business through systems and automation, technology hacks you should be using every day, and how to raise private money. Go to www.savvybootcamp.com now to register or to find out more.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.